Some people wake up every morning with fresh money in their account, earned while they slept, without checking a single email or taking a single client call. It's not because they have a side hustle. It's because they own businesses that run on their own, almost on autopilot. I'm not talking about stock market investments or complicated real estate. I'm talking about boring, simple businesses that almost nobody considers a real business, until they see how much they bring in every month. After reviewing 20 low-maintenance business models and their profitability over the past few years, I organized them into a list that anyone can replicate. Some of these are going to sting a little, because you've probably had the chance to start one of them already, and you let it pass. If you only act on one idea from this list, make it the last one. It's the one that generates income with the least effort out of all 20. Here we go. Before we get started, let me introduce myself real quick in case this is the first video of mine you've seen. My name is David. I have a degree in business strategy and transformation, and I've spent 7 years researching how ordinary people, no inheritance, no connections, build real wealth. And one thing I learned during that time is that almost nobody gets rich with the brilliant idea. They get rich with the boring idea that nobody else wanted to do. This list is exactly about that. We're going from 20 down to 1. Each business includes how much it costs to start, how much it can generate, and why almost nobody pays attention to it. Stick around, because the pattern you'll notice by the end is going to change how you see businesses without the glamour. Business 20. Window cleaning for commercial buildings. Let's start with something you see every day and never think about. Someone hanging from a harness cleaning windows on a tall building. It sounds dangerous, it sounds blue-collar, it sounds like the last business anyone with an education would choose. But commercial window cleaning contracts for office buildings and hospitals pay between $400 and $1,000 per workday, and many operators work exclusively on annual contracts that renew automatically every January. Why doesn't anyone do it? Because it looks like a job, not a business. But an operator running 3 two-person crews, specializing only in hospitals and office buildings, bills $300,000 a year without strapping on a harness himself. The barrier isn't money. It's the fear of heights from someone who could just hire somebody else to go up. Here's the first pattern you'll see repeating throughout this entire video. The business that's the most physically uncomfortable to do is usually the least competitive. If heights make you dizzy, you don't need to climb the building yourself. You need to find someone who can, pay them well, and keep the difference between what you charge the client and what you pay the crew. Business 19. Pressure washing. No harness needed here, no special license, no massive investment. You need a pressure washer that costs between $1,500 and $4,000, and a landscape full of dirty sidewalks, facades, and parking lots. The interesting thing is that demand doesn't depend on the economy. When there's money, people wash their homes to make them look nice. When there isn't, commercial businesses have to keep their storefronts clean by contract with the property owner. Smart operators don't charge for one-off jobs. They sign annual contracts with corporate buildings and condominiums, and those contracts turn into recurring income without having to chase a new client every week. Think about it like you're a kid. It's the difference between selling a single ice cream cone on the street or the ice cream shop owner hiring you to deliver ice cream every Monday for the entire year. The second deal is boring to sign, but it's the one that takes away the anxiety of not knowing whether you'll have customers next week. Business 18. Portable restroom rentals. This is probably the least attractive business on the entire list, and that's exactly why it's one of the most profitable. The global portable restroom rental market was valued at $20.71 billion and is projected to reach $34.86 billion by 2030, according to Grand View Research. Why is it growing so fast? Because every construction site, every event, every fair needs one, and nobody wants to own one. You can. The model is simple. You buy the units, rent them out per event or per month, clean them on a scheduled route, and collect payment every time they're in use. You don't sell anything. You rent out something nobody wants to buy, and that's exactly what makes it profitable. There's a lesson here that repeats across several businesses on this list. The uglier or more uncomfortable the product, the fewer people are willing to compete against you. The discomfort isn't the obstacle. It's the barrier to entry that protects you from competition. Business 17. Vending machine business. Today's vending machines aren't the ones from 20 years ago. They now accept cards, have screens, and can be monitored from your phone without physically going to the location. A well-placed machine, in an office, a gym, a factory, can generate between $300 and $1,000 per month in pure profit, depending on the product and foot traffic. The key to this business isn't the product, it's the location. One operator in Sydney ended up with 50 machines and, according to industry reports, hasn't personally touched a single one in years because he has a contracted restocking route. The money doesn't come from selling sodas. It comes from having 50 locations paying you rent without realizing that's how they see it. And here's something almost nobody tells you. What you're really buying when you install a vending machine isn't the machine itself. It's permission to stand 24 hours a day in a spot where nothing was generating money before. That empty corner in the office, that hallway in the gym, it was worth $0 a month until someone decided to put a machine on top of it. Business 16. A TM network. Hold on to this one because it connects directly to the previous entry. Owning your own ATM network sounds like something only banks do, but anyone can buy machines, place them in businesses with heavy cash traffic, and earn a fee every time someone withdraws money. With the right location, each machine can generate between $1,000 and $3,000 per month in net profit. You don't sell anything, you don't serve customers, you just keep the machine stocked with cash and charge for the convenience of having it there. The business works because it solves an invisible problem. There are places, bars, laundromats, markets, where people need cash and don't have it on hand. You simply show up with the solution and charge for being present. Something almost nobody mentions about this business is that it pairs perfectly with the previous one. If you already have a vending machine in a location, that same owner will probably accept an ATM too. Every location you visit becomes 2 income streams instead of 1, without doubling the time you spend maintaining it. Business 15. Bookkeeping for small businesses. Here we shift from machines to something completely different: paperwork. And yes, boring paperwork makes people rich too. Every small business in the United States needs to keep its books up to date, and most owners deeply hate doing it. That's why they pay between $500 and $1,500 a month to hire someone to do it for them. Let's do the simple math. If you have 10 clients paying $1,000 a month each, you're already generating $10,000 a month. No office needed, no employees, just you with a laptop and a basic understanding of accounting. The global accounting services market is projected to grow from $682.69 billion in 2025 to $986.5 billion by 2032, according to Fortune Business Insights. That growth also reaches independent bookkeepers serving small businesses. The interesting thing about this business is that you don't need to be a certified accountant to start serving small businesses that only need basic organization, not complex audits. What you're selling isn't a credential. You're selling peace of mind, the peace of mind that someone else is handling something the business owner hates doing. Business 14. Residential and commercial cleaning. This business is so simple that a lot of people dismiss it right away: cleaning houses and offices. But here's the stat that changes the perception. A solo operator with just 5 recurring clients per week can generate between $5,000 and $8,000 a month. If you scale to a 4-person crew, that number jumps to between $25,000 and $40,000 a month, with profit margins between 35% and 50%. The secret isn't in cleaning better than everyone else, it's in the recurrence. A client who pays you every week for a year is worth far more than 10 clients who hire you once. The global cleaning services market is valued at $415.93 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $619.98 billion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. I'll tell you from my experience studying this type of business. Most people who try to start a cleaning business don't fail because they clean poorly. They fail because they chase new clients constantly instead of holding on to the ones they have. It's easier to keep a client who already trusts you happy than to convince a new one every week. Business 13. Pest control. Nobody wants to think about cockroaches, but cockroaches don't care whether you want to think about them. That's why this business never stops being in demand. The global pest control market was valued at $22.64 billion in 2023 and is projected to reach $34.3 billion by 2030, also according to Grandview Research. What makes this business special is the automatic recurrence. Once you sign a monthly maintenance contract with a restaurant, a building, or a home, that contract renews on its own because no business wants to risk a health inspection over a pest problem. It's one of the few services where the client comes to you instead of you going after them. Think about the difference in negotiating power. When you need to sell, you have to persuade. When the client urgently needs what you offer, they simply pay what you ask. Pest control permanently lives in that second scenario. Business 12. Coin laundry, laundromat. This is one of the most studied, boring businesses in the United States, and the recent numbers show something few people expect. The laundromat industry in the United States generates approximately $6.8 billion a year, with average revenue of $150,000 per location annually, and net profit margins that can reach up to 35%, according to data compiled from IBISWorld and industry reports published in 2025 and 2026. Here's the stat that sounds almost unbelievable. Approximately 95% of laundromats are still operating after 5 years. Compare that to any new restaurant, and you'll understand why serious investors prefer machines washing clothes over a trendy restaurant. People will always need to wash their clothes. That doesn't change with the economy, it doesn't change with technology, and it doesn't change with trends. There's something else few people consider about this business. A big portion of the revenue no longer comes just from the machines. It comes from what surrounds the machines. Beverage and snack vending, ATMs, free Wi-Fi that keeps people waiting longer inside the location. The laundromat turned into, without anyone planning it that way, several small businesses running under the same roof. Business 11. Self-storage rental. If you've ever wondered why so many storage facilities keep popping up in every city across the United States, here's the answer. The self-storage market in the United States is valued at over $45 billion, with more than 50,000 facilities currently operating, and nearly 1 in 8 American households rents at least one unit, a percentage that climbed from 11.1% in 2022 to 13.4% in 2024, according to the Self-Storage Association. Why is it growing so fast? Because new homes and apartments are smaller than before, but people keep accumulating the same amount of stuff, or more. The business doesn't sell space. It sells the solution to a problem that modern life manufactures on its own, not having anywhere to put your things. And there's a detail that few people mention. The fastest growing customer segment in this sector isn't families moving between homes. It's small e-commerce sellers using these units as makeshift warehouses to store inventory without paying the rent on a full commercial space. Storage stopped being just for keepsakes. It's now also silent infrastructure for small businesses. Business 10. Heavy equipment and tool rental. Now we enter the second half of the list, where the businesses get more interesting and less obvious. Buying an industrial mower, scaffolding, or a professional-grade saw costs thousands of dollars that most people don't have, and don't want to spend just to use it for one weekend. That's why renting equipment has become a quietly profitable business. You buy the equipment once, and you rent it out dozens of times over its useful life. The typical customer isn't just the homeowner who needs to mow the yard. It's small contractors who prefer renting specialized equipment instead of buying it because their project lasts 3 weeks and they don't need that machine sitting around the rest of the year eating up space and maintenance costs. The logic here is the same as the portable restrooms. You absorb the cost of owning something expensive once, and you charge dozens of different people to use it for a short period. The equipment pays for itself several times over during its useful life, and after that, everything it generates is profit. Business 9. Sports card reselling. This business is going to surprise you because it doesn't sound like a business, it sounds like a hobby. But there are people generating serious income by buying bulk lots of collectible cards, identifying the valuable ones, grading their condition, and reselling them on specialized marketplaces. A single lot can produce thousands of cards that need to be identified, graded by year and condition, and compared against recent market prices. Anyone who learns to do that process quickly and accurately turns hours of manual work into consistent profit, because a single mispriced card can wipe out the profit from dozens of others that were sold correctly. It's not speculation, it's a repeatable process, and since almost nobody takes it seriously as a business, competition remains low compared to other resale markets. The reason I include this business on a list of boring things is precisely to break a common misconception. Boring doesn't mean serious or formal. It means repeatable and unglamorous. And a classification and resale process, done with discipline every day, fits that definition perfectly. Business 8. Light manufacturing of small parts. Here I want you to think about something you've probably never thought about. The screws, the plastic pieces, the small connectors that literally hold together everything you use. Nobody dreams of manufacturing screws. That's why almost nobody competes in that market. A manufacturer focused on custom plastic parts for specific industries can generate revenues in the millions of dollars per year, simply because they solved a technical problem that the large factories consider too small to bother with. The pattern repeats. While everyone chases the innovative, exciting product, someone is manufacturing the boring part that 100 different factories need to buy every month to keep their operations running. If you want to understand the real size of this opportunity, think about it this way. No large factory is willing to stop its production line to manufacture 1,000 screws of a specific size that only one client needs. That order that's too small for the giants is exactly the right size for a small manufacturer who knows who to serve. Business 7. Management software for small businesses. You don't need to build the next social network to make money with software. You need to solve an operational problem that a specific niche already has. One that nobody big wants to address because it's too small for them. Think about appointment scheduling software for electricians or inventory systems for small shops. While everyone competes to build the next viral app, there are developers making steady money solving everyday operational problems for businesses that already exist and already pay. The common mistake is thinking the software has to be brilliant. It doesn't. It just has to take an annoying task off someone's plate, someone who's already willing to pay not to do it themselves. Here's something worth its weight in gold. A small business owner who's already paying $100 a month for a mediocre tool isn't looking for innovation. They're looking for the problem to go away. If your software does that simply, you already have a recurring customer, without needing to compete against big tech companies for attention or for funding. Business 6. Specialized electrical services for smart technology. Traditional electricians charge well for emergency calls and regular maintenance. But something changed in recent years. The arrival of smart homes and electric vehicle charging stations turned this old-school trade into a specialization with much higher rates. An electrician who specializes in EV charging station installation and smart home systems can charge rates above $250 per hour compared to much lower traditional rates. The business is still the same trade it always was. What changed was the specialization within it. And that's something you'll notice in several businesses on this list. You don't reinvent the wheel, you just point it in a direction nobody else is looking. There's a detail that ties this directly to your everyday life. More and more homes in the United States are installing EV chargers in their garage, and most traditional electricians still don't specialize in that kind of installation. Whoever does it first in their area over the next few years will charge premium rates simply for getting there before everyone else. Business 5. Plumbing specialized in commercial kitchens. Everyone jokes about plumber rates until the bathroom floods at 2 in the morning. That joke hides a serious business. By combining regular maintenance contracts with emergency services, a plumber can generate between $150,000 and $300,000 annually. But the real leap happens when someone specializes. A plumber in Perth built a 7-figure business by focusing exclusively on commercial kitchen maintenance for restaurants. Why that specific niche? Because a restaurant can't wait a week for a pipe to get fixed. They need it resolved immediately, and they're willing to pay premium rates for that urgency. Specializing in an urgent niche is always worth more than being a generalist for everyone. It's the same logic as the electricians you saw a moment ago, applied to another trade. Instead of competing for every possible client, this plumber chose to compete for only one type of client, restaurants, and became irreplaceable to them. When you're irreplaceable to a specific client, you stop competing on price. Business 4. Parking lots in high-demand areas. This is, according to several industry reports, considered the most boring business of all, and that's precisely why I want you to pay attention. A well-located parking lot in a business district can generate between $10,000 and $30,000 per month with minimal operating costs. An operator managing 5 small lots in a commercial area can bring in $600,000 a year in a nearly completely passive way. There's no product to sell, no inventory to restock, no customer to serve with a smile. There's just an empty space, the right location, and people willing to pay to leave their car there for a few hours. It is literally making money from empty land. If you think about it carefully, this business doesn't compete with anyone on innovation or marketing or customer service. It competes solely on location. And location, unlike an idea, can't be copied overnight. Whoever got to the right corner first keeps the advantage forever. Business 3. Established service franchises. I want to be clear about something here. Buying a franchise isn't for everyone because it requires significant upfront capital, but the numbers show why it remains one of the most predictable ways to generate high income. The average annual revenue of a service franchise is approximately $1,067,660, with an average initial cost of $275,000 and an estimated timeline of 18 months to begin generating income, according to data compiled from specialized industry reports. Franchises represent more than 10% of businesses in the United States and generate approximately 3% of the country's GDP. That McDonald's you drive past every day probably isn't owned by the corporation. It's owned by an ordinary person who decided to buy a proven business model instead of inventing one from scratch. What you're really buying when you enter a franchise isn't the brand, it's the instruction manual. Someone else already made the mistakes, already fine-tuned the process, already tested what works and what doesn't over years. You show up to execute a proven system rather than discovering one from nothing, and that dramatically reduces the risk compared to a completely new business. Business 2. Buying an existing business instead of starting one from scratch. I want you to pay close attention to this one, because it's different from all the others. It's not about which business to run, it's about how to acquire it. Most people think the only way to own a business is to start one from scratch. But buying a boring business that already works, a laundromat, a cleaning service, a pest control company, eliminates the biggest risk of any new business, the period where you don't know if it's going to work. Walker Deibel, author of Buy Then Build, explains something worth repeating. Buying an existing business with proven cash flow is typically a faster, less risky path to financial freedom than starting from zero. Businesses with recurring revenue tend to sell for 3 to 5 times their annual income, compared to just 1 to 2 times for businesses that depend on one-time sales. Buying money that's already flowing, instead of betting that it will start flowing, completely changes the risk equation. This explains something a lot of people don't understand about boring business owners. They aren't necessarily the ones who had the original idea. They're the ones who identified an already functioning business with existing customers and decided it was smarter to buy it than to compete against it from scratch. Every single one of the 19 businesses listed above can also be bought already built, rather than being constructed from the first customer up. Business 1. Businesses with recurring revenue in any industry. And we've reached number 1, the one I told you about from the beginning, the one that changes everything the most, and the one almost nobody mentions when they talk about boring businesses. It's not a specific business. It's a principle that connects absolutely every one of the others. The difference between getting rich slowly and never getting rich at all isn't in which business you choose. It's in whether that business pays you once or pays you every month. Think about it like this. If you sell a popsicle, you earn once. If you rent the popsicle cart to someone else every month, you earn every month without ever selling another popsicle. That's exactly the difference between the laundromat, the storage unit, the pest control company, the monthly bookkeeping, and the ATM you saw on this list. They all share the same invisible structure. The customer pays, leaves, and comes back to pay again the following month without you having to convince them all over again. Morgan Housel puts it in a way I never forget in his book, Same as Ever. People underestimate the power of simple things that repeat consistently because they chase excitement instead of consistency. That's the real secret behind all 20 businesses on this list. None of them are brilliant, all of them are consistent. And here's the question I want you to take away from this entire video, more than any specific business. The next time you evaluate an idea, any idea from this list or one you come up with on your own, ask yourself first whether it pays you once or pays you every month. That single question immediately filters out 90% of the ideas people chase and leaves you only with the ones that actually build long-term wealth. Let me be honest with you for a moment. When I started studying business strategy, I was also looking for the genius idea, the one nobody had thought of before. I spent years doing that. And what I finally understood, after studying the patterns of people who actually built real wealth, is that almost nobody got rich by inventing something new. They got rich by executing something old, better than everyone else, with a consistency most people don't have the patience to maintain. That's the uncomfortable truth behind this entire list. We all grew up watching stories about garages where a world-changing company was born. But for every story like that that goes viral, there are thousands of quiet stories of people who bought a laundromat, a fleet of vending machines, or a parking lot, and built enough wealth to retire comfortably without anyone ever writing an article about them. Those stories don't get told on social media because there's nothing flashy to show, but they are, by far, the most common among those who actually accumulated wealth in a sustained way. I want to close with a real-world example of what this looks like in the lives of two different people. Daniel was 34 when he decided he wanted to own his time. He spent 2 years searching for the perfect idea, an app, a unique product, something nobody else was doing. He burned through his savings on attempts that never took off because every new idea was competing against 1,000 new ideas from other people just as ambitious. Today, at 41, he's still employed, still searching for the idea, and every year that passes, he feels like time is running out. Alex was the same age as Daniel when he started, but instead of chasing the new thing, he bought a small laundromat that had already been running in his city for 15 years. He didn't invent it, he bought it with proven cash flow. While paying off the business loan, he started renting 2 vending machines in a nearby gym. After 4 years, the combined cash flow from both businesses allowed him to leave his job. Today, his money comes in while he sleeps, exactly as we said at the beginning of this video. And nobody in his social circle would ever guess, looking at him, that this is how he built his financial freedom. The difference between Daniel and Alex was never intelligence, or luck, or starting capital. It was that one chased the exciting thing, and the other built the boring one. There's one more detail I want you to notice in this comparison, because it's the one that connects to everything you saw on this list. Daniel didn't fail for lack of effort. He worked incredibly hard, probably more hours than Alex in his first 2 years. He failed because he chose to compete on a playing field where thousands of ambitious people exactly like him were competing at the same time. Alex, on the other hand, chose a field that almost nobody wanted to step on. And that's exactly why he had it almost entirely to himself. If you've made it this far, you already have something that most people who watch this kind of content never get. The complete list, with real data, of 20 businesses that generate money without needing to reinvent anything. If this video opened your eyes to a business you'd never considered, hit that like button. It helps a lot in getting this in front of more people like you. Subscribe if you want us to keep talking about real money and business strategies. And tell me in the comments which of these 20 businesses surprised you the most, or which one you already knew up close. I read every comment. I'm David, and I'll see you in the next video.